and the pass goes into the end zone, and it is a touchdown by Nick Foles.
The Super Bowl MVP is back, at least for another year. Philly reworked Nick Foles' contract to include a $2 million raise and a mutual option to return in 2019. Three-time Pro Bowl defensive end Michael Bennett is now an Eagle. However, just weeks after getting traded from Seattle, Bennett was indicted on felony charges for allegedly injuring an NRG Stadium worker following Super Bowl 51 in Houston. More defensive help arrives, with Philly signing five-time Pro Bowler Haloti Ngata to a one-year deal. The 34-year-old defensive tackle spent the last 3 seasons in Detroit. With a roster built on balance and depth, the 2017 Eagles won the franchise's first ever Super Bowl. As a result, Executive VP of Football Operations Howie Roseman was acknowledged as the 2017 NFL Executive of the Year. Roseman's squad gets the primetime stage in Week 1 in a rematch of last year's NFC divisional matchup. The Eagles open the season against the Falcons on Thursday, September 6th.
With the second pick, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley.
After going 3-13 last season, the G-Men were rewarded with one of the top playmakers in the 2018 draft. Saquon Barkley joins a New York team that also signed ex-Panthers back Jonathan Stewart this offseason. The Giants look to a new leader in 2018 as Pat Shurmur was hired as the 18th head coach in team history. He spent the last 2 seasons as Minnesota's offensive coordinator. Free agent tackle Nate Solder signed a 4-year deal, joining New York's bolstered offense. The 2-time Super Bowl champion spent his first 7 seasons in New England. The Giants sent 2 draft picks to the Rams for linebacker Alec Ogletree. The 6th-year pro signed a 4-year, $42 million extension last October. Contract standoffs, trade rumors, and of course one-handed catches kept Odell Beckham busy all offseason. OBJ enters the final year of his rookie deal, while the Giants say there is no plan to trade their star receiver. Cowboys legend calls it a career.
Time has come for me to pass the torch to the next generation of Dallas Cowboys.
Tight end Jason Witten announced his retirement after 15 seasons in Dallas. The future Hall of Famer exits as the Cowboys' all-time leader in receptions. Another major departure as the team parted ways with Dez Bryant. The star wideout spent 8 seasons in Dallas and was set to earn $12.5 million in each of the next 2. As for Dak's new pass catchers, enter Allen Hurns and Tavon Austin. Hurns, the former Jaguar, signed a 2-year deal while the Cowboys traded for ex-Rams receiver Tavon Austin. Is Leighton Vander Esch the future of the Dallas defense? The Cowboys skipped past their wide receiver needs to draft the athletic Boise State linebacker, 19th overall. Zach Martin is now the highest-paid guard in the NFL. The 4-time Pro Bowler signed a 6-year extension with Dallas that earns him up to $84 million. Richard Sherman's run in Seattle is over. Cutting the 30-year-old corner saved the Seahawks $11 million in cap space this season. Sherman's 32 interceptions are an NFL high since 2011. Safety Cam Chancellor moves on to the next chapter. The 8-year veteran appeared to announce his retirement via Twitter in early July. Chancellor suffered a season-ending neck injury in 2017. The Jimmy Graham experiment concluded with the Pro Bowl tight end leaving for the Packers in free agency. Graham led the team with 10 receiving touchdowns in 2017. Seattle acquired him via trade in 2015. Add another departure to the list with Pro Bowl defensive end Michael Bennett's trade to the Eagles. In return, Seattle acquired a 5th-round pick and receiver Marcus Johnson.
The Seattle Seahawks select Shaquem Griffin.
All right.
Twins reunited in Seattle. The Seahawks spent a 5th-round pick on UCF linebacker Shaquem Griffin, who became the first one-handed player to ever be drafted. He joins twin brothers Shaquille, who started 11 games at cornerback for the Seahawks in 2017.
Right side throw picked off. It's Peters with his 2nd pick of the night.
LA kicked off a wild offseason by trading for star cornerback Marcus Peters. And they didn't stop there. LA traded for Aqib Talib, who pairs with Peters to form one of the top corner duos in the league. Talib's been named to the Pro Bowl in each of the last 5 seasons.
Oh, it's caught! Touchdown! Brandon Cooks!
Jared Goff gets a new target as the Rams saw Sammy Watkins depart in free agency. Yet another trade brought in 5th-year wideout Brandon Cooks for New England. Cooks has gone over 1,000 yards receiving in 3 straight seasons. 5-time Pro Bowler Ndamukong Suh joins Aaron Donald on what looks to be one of the top defenses in the NFL. Suh signed a 1-year, $14 million deal after being released by Miami. But the Rams' offseason overhaul saw key defensive departures, including linebacker Alec Ogletree, defensive end Robert Quinn, and cornerback Tremaine Johnson. Former Panthers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks gets the nod at head coach, replacing Bruce Arians. Wilks signed a 4-year contract with a team option for year 5.
The Arizona Cardinals select Josh Rosen, quarterback, UCLA.
Arizona ended Josh Rosen's draft slide, who was the 10th overall pick and 4th quarterback off the board. Rosen's reaction, quote, "There were 9 mistakes ahead of me." The Honey Badger finds a home in Houston. The Cardinals released 26-year-old safety Tyrann Mathieu after 5 seasons when neither side could come to a contract agreement. Mathieu signed a 1-year deal with the Texans. Carson Palmer announced his retirement a day after Arians did the same, leaving an opening at quarterback heading into 2018. Palmer led the Cardinals to the playoffs in 2014 and 2015. That quarterback opening could be filled by Sam Bradford. The 30-year-old signed a 1-year, $20 million deal with Arizona after spending the last 2 years with the Vikings. The NFL has suspended quarterback Jameis Winston for the first 3 games of the regular season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. This stems from an alleged 2016 incident involving a female Uber driver.
Got a receiver in the area. It's Evans, makes the catch. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Mike Evans.
Mike Evans will spend his prime in Tampa. The 5th-year receiver signed a 5-year, $82.5 million contract. He's now the league's 2nd highest paid receiver, behind only Antonio Brown. A D-line overhaul. Days after signing former Eagle Vinnie Curry, Tampa traded for Giants defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul. The Bucs ranked dead last in sacks a season ago. And they didn't stop there, adding Washington defensive tackle Vita Vea with the 12th pick in the draft. Vea joined 6-time Pro Bowler Gerald McCoy on what could be the most improved D-line in the NFL. Running back Doug Martin's 6-year tenure in Tampa came to a close when the team released him in February. Martin had 2 1,400-yard seasons and has since signed in Oakland. No surprise here, free agent Drew Brees re-signed with New Orleans on a 2-year, $50 million contract. Brees set the NFL record for single-season completion percentage in 2017.
The New Orleans Saints select Marcus Davenport.
The Saints surprised many, skipping past a potential successor to Brees and instead opting for UTSA pass rusher Marcus Davenport. The 14th overall pick adds to a defense that tied for the 7th most sacks in 2017. Running back Mark Ingram will miss the team's first 4 games of the season for violating the league's policy on PEDs. Ingram had a career high in rushing yards and touchdowns last season. Wideout Cameron Meredith looks to fill the void of departed Saints receiver Willie Snead. Meredith had a breakout season in 2016 before a torn ACL sidelined him all of last season. A primetime rematch with the Vikings has been set for Week 8. The Saints go back to U.S. Bank Stadium and look to bounce back from last season's Minnesota Miracle. A new record sale price for an NFL franchise. Steelers minority owner David Tepper paid just under $2.3 billion for the Panthers and is expected to keep the team in Charlotte. The purchase price tops the $1.4 billion mark Terry Pagula paid for the Bills in 2014. Another pass catcher for Cam Newton. After acquiring wideout Torrey Smith, Carolina bolstered their aerial attack, drafting Maryland receiver DJ Moore in round 1.
They run the counter left side. C.J. Anderson with the big hole. 15, 10. C.J. Anderson 5 to the pylon.
Carolina finds their complement to Christian McCaffrey. Running back C.J. Anderson joins the team on a 1-year contract fresh off his first 1,000-yard season with Denver a year ago. Pro Bowl linebacker Thomas Davis will miss the team's first 4 games of the season for violating the league's policy on PEDs. Davis has made the Pro Bowl in his last 3 seasons. Back for season 17, 38-year-old defensive end Julius Peppers signed a 1-year deal in March. Peppers ranks 4th on the NFL's all-time sack list. The Matt Patricia era begins. Detroit's new head coach spent the last 14 seasons working under Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Patricia was New England's defensive coordinator since 2012. Defensive end Ezekiel Ansah will play on the franchise tag in 2018. The 28-year-old will earn just more than $17 million this season. He's led the Lions in sacks in 2 of the last 3 years.
Blunt across the 20. The train is in the end zone.
Detroit will not be short of running backs this season. 3-time Super Bowl champion LeGarrette Blount joins the Lions backfield featuring Amir Abdullah, Theo Riddick, and 2018 draft pick Kerryon Johnson. Last season's 32nd ranked rushing offense got another boost with Arkansas lineman Frank Ragnow joining the mix. The Lions spent their first-round pick on Ragnow, who played both center and guard in college. 5-year vet Devon Kennard looks to solidify Detroit's linebacker group. He signed a 3-year deal after playing his first 4 seasons with the Giants. Minnesota lands their quarterback.
Winning is what I said it would be all about. I came here because of the chance to win.
It's a 3-year, $84 million deal for Kirk Cousins, who joins the Vikings after 6 seasons in Washington. Cousins will be 30 at the start of the season. A game changer on the D-line. 6th-year pro Sheldon Richardson signed a 1-year deal with Minnesota, joining last season's top-ranked scoring defense. The Vikings locked up 2 of their brightest young stars this summer. 23-year-old defensive end Danielle Hunter and 26-year-old linebacker Eric Kendricks were each rewarded with 5-year extensions. Veteran receiver Kendall Wright signed with the NFC North champs, joining Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs in the pass attack. He had 59 catches in Chicago last season. After a remarkable comeback from a 2016 knee injury, quarterback Teddy Bridgewater departed in free agency. He signed with the Jets, leaving Trevor Siemian as Cousins' backup. John Fox out, Matt Nagy in as head coach. The 39-year-old spent the last 2 seasons as Kansas City's offensive coordinator. The Bears look to end an 8-year playoff drought in 2018. Wideout Allen Robinson will catch passes for Mitchell Trubisky in 2018. Robinson signed a 3-year deal with Chicago. The Bears ranked dead last in pass yards per game last season.
The Chicago Bears select Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia.
Will Roquan Smith add his name to the great legacy of Bears linebackers? Chicago took the Georgia product with the 8th overall pick. Smith was the 2017 SEC Defensive Player of the Year. The Bears held on to 5th-year cornerback Kyle Fuller after matching Green Bay's offer sheet in March. According to Pro Football Focus, Fuller led all defensive backs in passes defense last season. 2016's breakout Bears receiver will play in New Orleans this season. Cameron Meredith departed via free agency after missing the entire 2017 season with a knee injury. Kirk Cousins hits the road. After 2 straight seasons on the franchise tag, the 7th-year quarterback said goodbye to D.C. and signed a 3-year deal with the Vikings.
Alex Smith puts it on the money.
Cousins out, Alex Smith in. Washington acquired Smith from the Chiefs in January in a deal that sent corner Kendall Fuller and a 3rd-round pick to KC. Smith set career highs in passing yards and passing touchdowns in 2017. Smith gets some help in the pass game as Washington struck a deal with Paul Richardson. The 5th-year wide receiver broke out in 2017 with 703 yards and 6 touchdowns in Seattle. A potential 2nd-round steal. The Redskins ended Darius Geis's draft slide by selecting the LSU running back 59th overall. Many draft experts had Geis going in round 1. After a decorated 14-year career, defensive back D'Angelo Hall is hanging up his boots. Hall made 3 Pro Bowls and spent his last 10 seasons in D.C. Matt Ryan is now the highest-paid player in football. The 2016 MVP signed a 5-year, $150 million extension in May. Though his production dropped in 2017, Ryan has a youthful bunch of playmakers in Julio Jones, Austin Hooper, Tevin Coleman, and Devonta Freeman.
The Atlanta Falcons select Calvin Ridley.
The Falcons added another young target for Ryan in wide receiver Calvin Ridley. The 26th overall pick could also contribute as a potential return specialist. Guard Brandon Fusco brings 7 years of NFL experience to the Falcons' offensive line. He has 80 career starts with the Vikings and 49ers. Atlanta's secondary added cornerback Justin Bethel on a 1-year deal. The 2-time Pro Bowler is a hopeful upgrade for the league's 12th-ranked pass defense. A playoff rematch in the 2018 opener. The Falcons get a chance to redeem last year's devastating NFC divisional loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday, September 6th. Jimmy G gets paid. San Francisco signed their franchise quarterback to a 5-year, $137.5 million extension. The deal at the time was the largest contract in NFL history. Garoppolo went 5-0 as the 49ers starter in 2017. An enemy turned ally. Ex-Seahawk Richard Sherman signed a 3-year deal with the Niners after his release from Seattle. Sherman vows he'll be 100% after an Achilles injury ended his 2017 campaign.
I look forward to coming back better than ever and a lot of things to show a few people.
San Francisco used the 9th overall pick in April's draft on Notre Dame tackle Mike McGlinchey. The 49ers' revamped O-line will also include ex-Giants center Weston Richburg. Running back Carlos Hyde exit via free agency, signing with the Browns. Hyde failed to crack the 1,000-yard rushing mark in each of his 4 seasons in San Francisco. Instead, Kyle Shanahan's offense will rely on Jerick McKinnon as its featured back. The 26-year-old ex-Viking had a career-high 991 yards from scrimmage in 2017. A decade in Green Bay comes to a close for wide receiver Jordy Nelson. The Packers cut the 32-year-old in March. Nelson was set to earn $12.5 million in 2018.
Caught, touchdown! Graham!
That guy will now be catching passes from Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay signed tight end Jimmy Graham to a 3-year, $30 million deal. The 5-time Pro Bowler spent the last 3 seasons with the Seahawks. More youth in the secondary arrives with first-round draft pick Jair Alexander. The Packers traded up to number 18 to grab the talented Louisville cornerback. Another big addition to the Green Bay D comes with the arrival of lineman Muhammad Wilkerson. The former Jet joins a Packers team that allowed 24 points per game in 2017. And the man who orchestrated these moves, new GM Brian Gutekunst. He's a 20-year member of the Packers organization and succeeded GM Ted Thompson.